Hey, what's up? Welcome to the chair. We are going to do the NFL recap of week 10. Already, week 10. My God. Uh, and then we're going to preview week 11. Of course, week 10 started with the Raiders defeating the Chargers 26-24. Safety for the Raiders. Harris had a couple of picks, and the defense won the game. Jacobs had a great game as well. Harris as well went for a pick six, so that was pretty cool to get the win out in Oakland. So Sunday came, Sunday morning for me out here at least. The Ravens at 6-2 went to go play the Bengals, who were 0-8. The final was 49-13. It was pretty outmatched. The Ravens quarterback Lamar Action Jackson, I like to call him. He passed for 223 yards, but he ran all day pretty much on the Bengals defense. And he did throw for 3 touchdowns, by the way. Yeah, 65 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown as well. And Ingram had 1 rushing. Great thing to mention, I think, out of this game real quickly. RG3 is Lamar's backup. And Ingram is a running back. And they all 3 won Heisman Trophy. So they had a I wouldn't call it a wildcat, but it was just a basic option play that had all 3 in the backfield. And I bet that's never happened where you had 3 Heisman Trophy winners in the backfield. Anyway, they had Griffin go on a 9-yard run off of the pitch from Lamar Jackson, and I thought that was pretty cool on the game. Yeah, it was just a blowout. Finley got the start for the Cincinnati Bengals. Andy Dalton's still out. He did throw 1 touchdown and a pick. Mixon had a great game rushing for 114 yards. Boyd with 62 receiving. But, yeah, Baltimore rolled 49-13. Next game was, and this was all in the morning, by the way, and we had some good finishes, but we also had some bad games to go for sure. The Bills went to the Browns, and I honestly thought the Bills would win this game. I had them picked. I went, I think, 5-8 this week, so it was a very underdogish upset week. The Bills came in at 5-3. The Browns at 2-6. They lost 4 straight. Browns ended up winning this defensive battle 19-16, as you thought it would be. The Browns just aren't scoring enough, but they scored enough against someone who doesn't score enough, but they defend well. But Browns scored late. It was a back-and-forth game. And Hashka missed a game-time field goal with 22 seconds. That would have tied the game, and they would still be playing. Not really, but you know what I mean. So the Browns ended up winning 19-16. There's not a lot of great offensive stats in that game for sure. Next game was at the Superdome in New Orleans. There was a 1-7 Falcons going to the 6-1 Saints, and all game long the Falcons led. It was just odd to see for sure, but Matt Ryan came back and he did well. 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. He only threw for 182 yards, but it was enough. Didn't really get much on the ground. Julio Jones has 79 yards receiving. For the Saints, Breeze didn't throw for a touchdown or a pick, but he threw for 287 yards. But nothing on the ground for Kamara, 24 yards. Murray with 12. Hill with 11. But Michael Thomas, he did work. He had 152 yards receiving, 13 receptions. Cook with 74, but the Falcons just kept scoring on their drives. They really did. And they got the win. They ended up winning 26-9 in a definite, real definite upset on the road, which I think had a lot of people just mystified, I guess. So, in the miserable of the week, I would say it was the New York Giants and New York Jets in New Jersey. It was a Jets home game. This game went back and forth, but Jets ended up winning, going to 2-7. The Giants 2-8. I had the Giants in this. Final was 34-27 Jets. Adams for the Jets safety had 2 sacks on the fumble recovery for a touchdown. Jets were in all black uniforms. That was pretty cool to see. And in this game, Daniel Jones, he had a great one. 308 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no picks. But on the ground, I couldn't believe this. Saquon Barkley only had 1 yard on 13 carries. Jones outran him for 3 attempts and 20 yards. That just can't happen. Oh, that can't happen. 4 of those touchdowns, though. Slayton had 120 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, and Golden Tate had 95 yards with those 2 touchdowns. But I just couldn't believe that. Saquon Barkley, he was just bombarded the whole game. You got to credit the Jets defense for that game plan, for sure. Sam Darnold, he had 230 yards passing touchdown and no pick. Le'Veon Bell had 34 rushing yards with a touchdown. Darnold also had a rushing touchdown as well. Thomas had 84 yards. Jamison Crowder had 81 yards and a touchdown. Bell with 34, all receiving there. So the Battle of New Jersey went to the Jets. Had to get this so I can stay up for a little bit. Do these shows. Next game. This one was a thriller. I mean, I had my eyes on this one and the Buffalo game. It was the Kansas City Chiefs going to Tennessee. It would seem like with Pat Mahomes back that the Chiefs would easily win this one. Tannehill was going for the Titans. It was 10-0 early Kansas City. They looked like themselves, but then Tennessee came back and scored. In the second half, it was Kansas City. We were all tied at 13. Then the Titans got some clutch plays defensively and offensively as well. On the last drive, Ryan Tannehill did a wonderful job leading them for a field goal. And then Butker of Kansas City had his field goal blocked. The tight end that came in and blocked it, timed it just right. No offsides. Got in, boom. Knocked it off. And like I said, the Titans win 35-32. It was one of those thrilling games. Mahomes threw 50 times, played 36. 446 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Williams on the ground, 77 yards. Watkins with 12 on the end around, a couple of end arounds. Tyreek Hill had 157 yards and 1 touchdown. Kelsey with 75 and a touchdown. Hardman with 63 and a touchdown. Robinson 56. Watkins had some drop balls for 39 yards. Could have had more for sure. For Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill threw it only 19 times. You know where they were going, rushing the ball with Derrick Henry. For Tannehill, passed for 2 touchdowns, 181 yards, no picks. Henry, he carried the mail for the Titans. 23 carries, 188 yards, and two touchdowns. Very clutch here. Vincere had the touchdown receiving for Tennessee, as well as Humphreys did as well. Raymond with 52 yards receiving on 1 play. I remember that one. That was pretty huge on that play. It's just one of those games where you had to make sure you're just watching that one and not anything else, and you would be very intrigued. Logan Ryan, the former Pat, I have to mention this, for the Titans had 13 tackles, and he's just one of those veteran players that you can lean on defensively for Tennessee, for those young guys, for the guidance, for whatever. Uh, and he and others really did the job there for Tennessee as they get the upset uh, with that one. I don't know many that had the Tennessee uh, upset, but if you did, you probably won some money. The Cardinals went to Tampa. This game, it went back and forth. I had Arizona. I felt like Kyle Murray can pull one out, and Jameis Winston would throw some costly picks. But the Cardinals' defense really, like I say, really let me down. Back and forth affair. The Buccaneers won 30-27 at home. Yeah, it's one of those games I thought, hey, if Daniel Jones can get a clutch win in Tampa against the Bucks with the Giants, maybe Kyler Murray can get his as a rookie, but didn't happen. But the Bucks go to 3-6. The Cardinals 3-6-1. Like I said, back and forth game. It was 17-13 at the half. Tampa led. Then they just scored three more. Did the Bucks ended up winning? Kyler Murray was 324 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. And it was his first pick of the year, I believe. He also ran for 38 yards rushing. But Christian Cook, he had a tremendous game. He had 6 receptions, 138 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Isabella was 78, Fitzgerald was 71. Got to get a Larry Fitzgerald mention in there somehow. Jameis Winston had 358 yards, passing 1 touchdown, no pick. 2 picks, excuse me. On the ground, Barber had a clutch touchdown, 43 yards, rushing. Mike Evans, 82 yards. Jones was 77. Godwin, 74. And O.J. Howard had a touchdown with 47 yards. Welcome back, O.J. They were very clutch when they needed to, was Tampa. Sure. That was a pretty good one. If you were watching that or had Red Zone on. Lions and the Bears, and didn't know until about late Friday that Matthew Stafford would be out with a back injury. There was some speculation if he really did or not, but that did not play. That was the case. The Bears ended up winning 20-13. Jeff Driscoll got the first start of his career. Threw for 269 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He also ran for 37 yards. Receiving wise, Jones Jr. was 77. Galladay with the touchdown had 57 yards and 3 receptions. It's one of those games you didn't really know, but Trubisky did well. 173 yards, passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks, which was a good thing. No picks. Pretty efficient, 16 for 23. Montgomery, 60 yards on the ground. Robinson in the air, 86. Gabriel with 39, touchdown. Cohen with 23. Broniker with 1 reception for 18. So the Bears did what they had to do to win. That's pretty much it. It was one of those games without Stafford. You figured the Bears could win that game for sure. Now this one was tough. It was Miami getting their first one last week, going to Indy to play 5-3 Colts. It was a shocker, but Indy led the whole way. I don't know how, but they ended up winning 16-12. Uh, Ryan Fitzpatrick threw for a pick, of course, but had 169 yards passing. He also ran for a touchdown, if you can believe that. On the ground, they didn't get much. Devontae Parker had 69 yards, though, through the air. Now, Jacoby Brissett will be back this week for Week 11, but he was out this week. And Brian Hoyer got the start. He had 204 yards, one touchdown, but three costly picks for the Colts. It's probably the main reason why they lost. They didn't get much from Marlon Mack either. You got to give credit to the Miami defense for making the stops when they had to. Especially, there was a fourth down play where Colts needed, I think, 4, and then only got 6. They only got 4 on the play. And LeBron that made one of these catches, 5 for 56, but 4 yards short, and the Dolphins ended up winning. Jack Doyle had 44 yards. Receiving with a touchdown. And I have to mention this, Leonard of the linebacking core had 13 tackles and a pick. And a sack, too. Darius Leonard was all over the place. But it wasn't enough as the Dolphins get the upset 16-12. I mean, who saw that coming? Okay, let's go to snowy Lambeau. It was the Panthers and the Packers. I think if you play Madden, these two are next to each other when you're picking teams. Anyway, it was a good game, but the Packers led the whole way. They had it pretty much throughout the whole game, but they let the Panthers come back. It was a really, really good game, but in the end, McCaffrey had 2 chances to get in, but the Packer defense did the job and stopped them in the snow. The final was 24-16. There were some questionable decisions by Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, that really, I think, held the Panthers back from maybe tying it. Kyle Allen had 370 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. McCaffrey on the ground had 108 yards and a touchdown. DJ Moore had a great game, 120 yards receiving. Olsen, 98. Samuel had a touchdown. But to see what Rodgers did, 233 yards with no touchdowns, no picks, that was pretty good. But on the ground, Aaron Jones, he's having such a great year. Had 93 yards, 13 carries, 3 touchdowns. Devontae Adams with 118 yards receiving. Jimmy Graham had 59. But in the end, the Panthers ended up winning the game. In Pittsburgh, the LA Rams to play the Steelers, and this one I also watched very close, as well as the Panther game. They were on at the same time. There's really, really something wrong with Jared Goff. I mean, there's a trickle-down effect. Even when Brandon Cooks was there, but he's injured. They're just not scoring. I think the league has figured out Sean McVay and the offense. I really do. Jared Goff did have 243 yards passing, but 2 picks and no touchdowns. And Hecker on this one play, they faked the punt, I think from their own 35, and they threw just a terrible pass, and they got picked off. Gurley had 73 yards rushing on 12 carries. Robert Woods had 95 yards receiving, 68 for Everett, 49 for Reynolds. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mason Rudolph 242 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Samuels had 29 on the ground. Washington for the Steelers had 90 yards and 1 touchdown. Smith-Schuster had 44 as well, but the final score was Pittsburgh getting the stops. Micah Fitzpatrick had 2 picks and 1 for a touchdown. Without that, the Rams would have maybe taken that game uh, easily, but again, they couldn't score. They couldn't score at all. And 17-12 was the final. Uh, Steelers go to 4-5. 5-4, excuse me. The Rams also go to 5-4. But you would have figured that, hey, maybe they could have won. Vikings on Sunday Night Football went to Arlington, to play the Dallas Cowboys. This game was really good. I mean, shout out to Skull219 with his Vikings, Matty Matt with his Cowboys. And like I said, this game went back and forth. The final was 28-24 Minnesota as they go to 7-3. The Cowboys come back to life at 5-4. Tell you what, Vikings, they punched Dallas in the mouth in the first quarter. Got on the board quickly, 14-0. Cook had something to do with that for sure. Dallas came back, scored 14 in the second quarter. Minnesota ended up getting a field goal then. It was 17-14 at the half. Then Minnesota, they got good. They got 11 in the third, and Dallas had 10 the rest of the way. Prescott tried the Hail Mary, but it was picked off at the end. Cousins, he had a pretty good game, 220 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. But Dalvin Cook, he started the game so well. He started the tempo for the Minnesota Vikings. At 26 carries, 97 yards, and 1 steamrolling touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings. He also had 86 yards and a long reception, but he had 7 of them. Diggs had 49. Kyle Rudolph, man, he had a great game. Even though it was short passes, they were to the end zone. He had this one one-handed catch that he brought in, got the 2 feet in the back of the end zone. He ended up having 2 touchdowns. And he hasn't done much all year. And I think a lot of people can contest to that. But tell you what, without these 2 touchdowns here, they don't win the game. So Dak Prescott, he had 397 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. But Ezekiel Elliott, man, he had 20 carries and 47 yards and no touchdown. It's like on the milk carton, you could put Elliott's face on there. And, it's a question like, hey, for Jerry Jones and all the Cowboy fans, it's like, hey, we're paying you so much. You held out. You did all this crap. You did all this talking, and you're just giving us this? What happened to the 100-yard game streak? It's gone. I think the Cowboys, I think the Vikings did put a great game plan together to stop him, so that was good. We expect more out of Elliott just because of his build. But Amari Cooper had a great game, 147 yards and touchdown. Randall Cobb, I guess it was playing against his old division foe, but he had 6 receptions for 106 yards and a touchdown. And then galloped into the end zone once, as Al Michael said, in the game for a touchdown, but he had 4 receptions and 76 yards receiving. But in the end, it was not enough. The Vikings win on Sunday Night Football 28-24. It was a thriller. And speaking of thrillers, Monday Night Football, we finally had a great game. I mean, a really great game. Shout out to Todd Grinds, his Seahawks, a lot of people's 49ers, Terry Guyton and Carl Williams. bunch of people on the lounge, man cave, whatever you want to call it now, 49er fans. They were treated to a great game. I guess we all were. For the people that stayed up, it was an overtime affair. Truly was a back and forth game, but in the first quarter, San Francisco looked like they were going to run away with it, but they did not, unfortunately. Seahawks came back, made it 10-7 at the half. Seahawks did score 14 in the third, got a field goal in the fourth, but the 49ers got 14 in the fourth and tied it. Remember, it was a rookie. It was not Robbie Gould kicking for the 49ers. It was Chase McDonald, I believe it was. Chase McDowell. Let's go see. Chase McLaughlin was kicking for the 49ers in the game. And he made the game-tying field goal at the end of regulation to make it 24-24. And then in overtime, man, I thought they were going to tie. But Russell Wilson threw for his only pick in the overtime session. And this was his second pick of the year. 49ers drove, and they ended up missing the field goal wide left or wide right, depending on where you're sitting. You had to duck your head if you're in the tunnel, as you saw maybe on social media. The ball went all the way to the tunnel. That's just crazy. And the wind wasn't a factor either. I know the Monday night crew was saying, hey, too much pressure on him. He's never been in a situation like this. Maybe that was the case. I don't know. But he ended up missing. Seahawks drove Russell Wilson at a clutch rushing play, middle of the field. And man, Myers got the winning field goal and then barely went through the upright. And that was with no time remaining. If he missed, it would have been our second tie of the season. Remember, the first tie was week 1 with the Lions and the Cardinals. So, let's give you the stats. Russell Wilson, 24 for 34, 232 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Carson on the ground at 89 yards, rushing with 1 touchdown. Wilson, 53 himself. Metcalf with 70. Hollister with a one-handed grab as he was falling down for a touchdown, 62 yards altogether. Lockett with 26. Bobby Wagner had 11 tackles. He was, again, putting his imprint all over the game. Davian Clowney as well. Had a very, very clutch play. Clowney ended up getting a fumble recovery for a touchdown. And that was pretty cool to see. You're just waiting for him to have his moment as a big player, and he did it. Jimmy G had 248 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Coleman on the ground with 48. For the 49ers in the air, Samuel, 112 yards receiving. Warren with 42 and a touchdown. No George Kittle. I would have gave the edge to the 49ers if they had George Kittle, but for some reason I thought, okay, without Kittle, they don't have many other players, and they also don't have Emmanuel Sanders either. So without that, I got to go the other way, and it worked. So that was a great Monday night game. It was one of those you got to cherish it because you don't know if you'll get another Monday night game like that. They paid a lot of money for the package. So that, gotta Gotta do better. but it's, I don't know. It's bad. So let's go to week 11, and wow, we had a Thursday night game that's pretty ugly for many reasons, and I'll for sure put the cover as the incident that happened. But let's talk about the game first. It was the Steelers and Browns. They both won the game the week before, week 10. Um, but it was ugly on the ground and in the air for both teams. Just the Browns capitalized. That's all it was. Browns led 14-0 at the half. Score a touchdown in each quarter of the first half. Pittsburgh did get a touchdown back in the third quarter, and then Browns got their next and last touchdown in the fourth. The final was 21-7. Cleveland. Mason Rudolph, who we'll talk about more, he had 221 yards passing, one touchdown, but four picks. Some of the passes weren't even close. Samuel's on the ground as Connor got hurt. He just came back too, but his shoulder got hurt. He had 10 yards rushing. Samuel's with 26. Rudolph with 15. In the air wasn't as good. Washington 49 yards. McDonald with 33. Edmonds with 27. Juju Smith-Schuster had 21, but then he was hit real bad over the middle. He had 21 yards, but he left with a concussion. Samuels had a touchdown with 19 yards receiving. Baker Mayfield had two touchdowns for sure, no picks, 193 yards, 17 for 32. But he had a lot of throws that he should have made. He had one, it was on a third down, and if he got it, then they would have been in the clear for sure. But he was wild with his throws. So 193 yards for him, but he was wild all day, all night. Chubb had 92 yards on the ground. Mayfield did have a rushing touchdown for a yard. Odell Beckham Jr. had one big play, 60 yards, 4 receptions. And Kareem Hunt played 46 yards receiving in that as well. Landry had a touchdown for 43 yards, 4 receptions. Carlson had big touchdown over the middle. Now, it was one of those throws that was in the fourth quarter. They were up 14-7, and you thought, okay, don't take a risk, as Tregman said. And he threw it right to the middle, and somehow Carson was there to catch it between two defenders of Pittsburgh. But that was for 8 yards, so Carson got his first touchdown of his career. But the big news, of course, was the all-out brawl that happened. And I don't know if they were talking to each other before it happened. Of course, you know, it was Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph. They had a lot of bad opinions, a lot of good opinions. You can take mine how it is, and then want you to comment on this video about it. But I felt like, let's just go in order, right? The game was over. There was 8 seconds left. Myles Garrett, for some reason, was really being aggressive, coming across the line and around the corner. Mason Rudolph already threw the pass, a screen pass to a running back, and he went very aggressive on Rudolph. I guess he was itching to get his sack. Maybe he was just stat padding. I don't know what it is that made him have to get that sack or try to get that sack with 8 seconds to go. Kidding me? But he wrestled Rudolph to the ground. It was a for sure late hit, unnecessary roughness. And then from what I saw, okay, Mason tried to pull Garrett's helmet off, and then kicked him in the middle. And then Miles Garrett ripped his helmet off, had it with him. Rudolph went to go charging back at Miles Garrett, and Garrett just did the terrible thing that you never want to see. I've seen it done before. I remember Miami Hurricane game where it was the all-out brawl, but it was so many more players kicking, pushing, whatever. And I think it was against FAMU back in 06 or 05, probably 06, uh, but maybe 07. But swung and hit Rudolph in the head about here, up here, yeah, up here. Uh, that was just ridiculous. Mason did get pushed down by Brown from out of nowhere. It was just an ugly, ugly incident. Pouncey went to go defend his quarterback, the center for Pittsburgh. Punching, kicking Miles Garrett on the ground. Finally got everybody separated. And what I was told, for many, it was like the mouse at the palace of the NFL. But this wasn't with fans, so I don't want to compare it to that. But the suspensions would maybe be that. But of course, less harsh than the mouse at the palace. I mean, that was just ridiculous. I mean, after all these years, '04, I still can't believe what I saw that night coming home from a friend's house. My brother and my uh, family was all there watching the NBA ESPN, and they showed what happened. I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, so I had mine moment, and Miles Garrett, of course, was suspended for the rest of this season, and I don't know if they'll suspend him for some of next season as well. Who knows? Uh, Pouncey had 3 games for defending his quarterback. Egubau, who pushed Mason down, cheap shot. It was he got a game, I think, and then Mason Rudolph, people say, got off pretty easy. Uh, he got fined, but not suspended. But I think people wanted him to be suspended. I think it was a racial thing. If you're on one side, you didn't want him suspended, but if you're on another side, you wanted him suspended. But I think a lot of people were scared to say that, or were told not to. But I think that's the case there, and both teams are fined $250,000 just because it was just a terrible display. That's all it was. So they got fined. So all in all, it was just a terrible incident, and it was embarrassment. And hopefully, you just move on from this. These two do meet in a couple of weeks, but Pouncey won't be there. It'll be interesting. Rudolph should be there. It's amazing he didn't get hurt worse in the head. He didn't have his, head split open or something. So that was tough to see. And I got texts and calls and messages about it right away when it happened. Uh, just a moment you'll remember and you hope you never see again, because Miles Garrett, he'll do these little cheap things. He's been fined and suspended before, but this is just taking it to a whole nother level. This is like a Ron Artest level, I guess you would say. And if you look at Ron or Meta, he had to change his name, I guess. He had a pretty good career after that, but he did have one elbow to Harden's face back in 2011, 2012 that almost mirrored everything he did again. So we're waiting for Miles Garrett to have his comeback, and everybody's going to be watching him like perfect. And we'll see how he does after this, but we'll see him next year for sure. Anyway, that was a start to week 11, which was madness. So let's start with the morning games of week 11. It's going to be the Cowboys going to Detroit. Uh, this game should be pretty close. Stafford is questionable. Have the Cowboys winning this, and you want to see Elliott have a great game on the ground, and you want to see Dak Prescott just do his thing, and Cooper and Galloway. Galloway not Galloway, Gallup, Cooper. For Detroit, Galloway leads the NFLs with 8 touchdown catches. So it's one thing to look out for. If they could get the ball to him, maybe he can make something happen. But we'll see. But I got the Cowboys winning that one. The Jaguars and the return of Nick Foles, which I thought he would have been out for the year, but it's been 8 weeks with the bye week as well. He'll come back and play this divisional game against Jacoby Brissett, who's coming back. So it's a return of the max for these 2 games, for these 2 teams in this game. I think the big matchup is Fournette and Mack against the 2 defenses on the ground. We'll see how they do. And then for both quarterbacks coming back, we'll see how they match up together against the defenses. But this game, excuse me, I'll have to go with the Colts, and it might be, you know what, Vinatieri's been missing a lot of clutch kicks, and you just hope that the Colts have to score more touchdowns than field goal opportunities. So Colts got to score on the ground and just keep scoring. Minnesota hosts the Broncos. Minnesota on the high horse right now. Shout out SkullTube19. They are beaming off of their win last Sunday night over Dallas. And Denver comes. Vikings have Dalvin Cook, who's leading the NFC with 991 yards rushing. Going to go to 1,000 in this game for sure. Denver does have a great defense. Thielen is out for Minnesota again, but I feel that Stephon Diggs, Kyle Rudolph, maybe they could have another good game. So I'll go with the Vikings in that. Now, the feature game in the morning is going to be the Texans and the Ravens. And Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, this one should be fun. High scoring, both defenses are bad. Both teams trying to get the rushing game going, but it's going to be done by the quarterbacks, not the running backs. So expect both receivers on both teams to have great days, and then quarterbacks having great days. It's going to be one of those good ones, I feel like. I'm going to go with the Ravens at home in that one. The Jets, this is a miserable bowl. The Jets at 2-7 go to the 1-8 Washington Football Club. Haskins gets his start against the Jets. I hope he has a good game, but we'll see. Probably go with the Jets. I bet they feel a little more confidence being the Giants last week. Maybe they could ride that momentum down south to Washington, and they'll do just enough. I want to see Le'Veon Bell have a good game. I mean, he signed all that money, held out the whole year, got less money, signed with the Jets. He's all by himself. I want to see him have a game over 150 yards, whatever. And then on the passing catches through the air, I want to see all that. We'll see. Falcons and Panthers play in Carolina, another divisional game here. Matt Ryan coming back makes a difference. Panthers do have McCaffrey, and the Falcon defense, yes, they did a great job, and they're going to have to do another one against Kyle Allen and DJ Moore, and they got to stop McCaffrey. Those are three tough things to do. Granted, they did it against. They let Thomas have a great game last week for the Saints, but not Breeze and Kamara overall. But I believe McCaffrey will lead the Panthers to the victory, so I'll go with Carolina. We have another divisional game here with the Bills and the Dolphins. Bills trying to get back to the winning ways and off the schneid against the 2-7 Dolphins, who are on a winning streak. Uh, the Bills are off to their best start since '99 at 6-3. The Bills will win this. I believe it will be a defensive battle, of course. It'll probably be like 13-9, maybe 16-9. Maybe the Bills will get a touchdown. I know Frank Gore is back where he played college football, so that maybe he'll have a great game. That'd be cool to see. I'll get the Bills on that. Saints go to Tampa. I wonder what Saints team will show up. Yeah. Now, no way are they replacing Drew Brees with Teddy Bridgewater. No way. But I think the idiots out there are trying to make that happen. But I knew that wouldn't be the case for sure. I'll go with the Saints, but maybe it'll be one of those thrillers that you'll see and you'll love to watch. Maybe. Maybe Jameis will make it interesting, but I believe the Saints will get the win by more than maybe by 4. Another divisional game, the Cardinals go to Santa Clara to play the Niners. Niners coming off their first loss in overtime. Probably drained all their usage in that game. Maybe the Cardinals will make a game out of it. But I can see the Niners winning this on the ground. Maybe Coleman will have a better game. Because defensively, the Cardinals are terrible. Rushing defense is awful. They've allowed 100 rushing yards in all 10 games this season that they played. So if they can get the ground game going without Kittle, the tight end, 49ers could win this pretty easily. They just have to corral Kyle Murray. Make sure he doesn't get anything on the ground and in the air. 49er defense maybe having a comeback this Sunday. I'll go with the Niners. Patriots go to the Eagles. That's one of the big games for sure. Their Patriots defense at 8-1. They're doing a great job. They're only allowing 11 points per game. That's the best they've ever done for sure through 9 games. Eagles at 5-4. I'm feeling a little iffy on this. It feels like the Patriots. You feel like they'll get surprised by the Eagles, but I think I'll go with the Patriots. I'll go with the safe pick. Hopefully, the Patriots can get the ground game going. But, yeah. Hope it's a close game for sure, but I'll go with the Patriots. Bengals at 0-9 go to the 5-4 Raiders. Of course, we'll have a Raider preview coming up. This should be a fun one. For the Raiders, I expect a blowout. I expect Raiders to win this and hopefully have a little rest. I want to see more ground game. Bengals do have a pretty good defense, but they definitely got exposed last week against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. but I got the Raiders in that easily. The Sunday night game is the Bears and the Rams. I think when the NBC people thought of this game, they didn't think the Bears would be 4-5. They didn't think the Rams would be 5-4. But that's what we're left with at the Coliseum on Sunday night. Uh, this game could be a toss-up. All year long, Jared Goff, Trubisky, they've been pretty bad, both of them. It just depends which team gains more on the ground and through the air. That's basically it. And then if Donald can make some plays, get some sacks, maybe the Rams will come out with this. I'm expecting better from the Bears defense, but we'll see. Maybe that game will be a field goal affair, and maybe the Rams will sneak it out. I'm gonna go with the Rams on that. Chiefs and Chargers in Mexico City. Hopefully, the field will be playable on because the Chiefs. Remember last year we're gonna play the LA Rams, but the field conditions were terrible, and they said no way, we're not playing on this. So I'll try it again against the Chargers at this time. In this game, got to go with the Chiefs. I feel like their momentum was taken away from them by the Titans, but I don't think the Chargers have the Titans-like defense. Melvin Ingram keeps getting banged up. Of course, Darren James not being there is a loss big for the Chargers, but I feel like the high altitude and all that in Mexico City, that even with it, the Chiefs will will run away with it. Hopefully, it'll be a good game, and we'll see what happens. But for divisional wise, part of me wants the Chargers to win, but I should never say that. But I'll go with the Chiefs, 6-4, 4-6. Chargers in Mexico City again on Monday Night Football. And I know we're just hoping for another good Monday night game, but we'll see what happens. So that's been the Week 10 recap and the Week 11 preview. It's already been wild in Week 11 after Thursday night debacle we had. Hopefully we have just a smooth ride through all the games and some, fun ones. No fighting or whatever. But emotions can get the best of us, and we saw that definitely on Thursday. So, yeah. So, good luck to everybody on that, and this has been the Chair with James, and I'll see you next time. Bye.